it's another Tezlom podcast, and it's interesting, these podcasts. Every time I do them, I get really nervous about the guests that are on because I get to know them a little bit. This lady I've met quite a few times, and I think we kind of hit it off online before we even met in person. I think because we both promote ourselves so much online, you get to know the personality of the people, and I knew straight away, I thought to her like she's my mate from day one, and it just carried on like that. Would you please do me a favour and introduce yourself and just tell me a little bit about what you do?
I will. Hi, I'm Katie Furey from Katie Furey Consulting. I'm a consultant to franchisors and franchisees in the health and social care sector.
Amazing. Where do we start with you? I think one of the questions I wanted to ask you straight away is how you finding it from being an employee into working for yourself. What's that been like for you?
The toughest journey ever.
Was it?
Yeah. I think when I decided, well, it was the biggest decision ever that I've ever made. Well, or we as a family have made with my husband Sean.
Yeah.
And he was like, you can do it. You'll everything you put your mind to, you smash. But I think for people who do know me on the outside, it's because I'm quite bubbly and a people person. People don't really know underneath of the self-doubt that's really, really deep inside. Yeah. So I think I came to the end of my journey with my last employer, and it was just that moment in time where I'd worked so hard I was running hard for a couple of years, really, really hard.
Yeah.
Almost. Well, the reason why I stopped was because Sean said to me one day, Katie, you're here, but you're not present. And I've got two little girls, and it was a bit like knife in the heart.
Yeah.
And I thought it hurt so much because it's true.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to do something for myself, but never brave enough, not really knowing what I wanted to do. And it was just that moment in time where I thought, if you don't do it now, I'm never going to do it. And Sean was just like, if it doesn't work, you'll get a job anywhere. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So it was December 2022. I finished work, and in March 23 started Katie Furey Consulting. Well, I started with Authenticity Consulting because I wanted the name to say more about who I am.
Yeah.
And then I thought, you know what, I'm going to build it around a personal brand because people know me in the health and care sector. What an 18 months it's been. Has been incredibly hard. Like when you start, you're like, it's all exciting and you just want to get going, and you sit. I suppose it's like when you start franchising, right? As a new franchisee, you sit there and you're like, why is the phone not ringing?
Yeah.
Like everybody knows. And I was saying to Sean, you said this would work. Everybody knows you in health and social care. And I think what I learned very, very quickly was you've got to really think about how you sell what you do.
Yeah.
So because I've been in operations for so long, and I love it, I can do lots of things. So how you actually hone that into a service was incredibly difficult. That was really difficult. The other thing is I'd left big salaries behind.
Yeah.
And we're not millionaires. We're a humble 2.4 children family.
Yeah.
And I had to replace that straight away. The pressure of that, I can't even tell you.
Yeah.
And Sean was like, don't worry about it. And I'm like, but I run the house and the bills and I know what we've got to do. And that's just being open and honest of going, there's no breathing space here. This has to work. There's no plan B.
Yeah.
But because of that, and I think that's where I relate to franchising a lot, even though this is not a franchise, it's my journey of my business. When there's no plan B, it tends to work.
Yeah. That phrase in it, burn the boats.
Yeah.
That's the one.
If you've not got something other than what the passion and what you want to achieve, if everything's rosy in the garden, whether you do it or not, it's like, how motivated are you actually to do it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So a little bit of fear completely instilled that sort of keep pushing. And I am quite driven anyway, but
there's nothing like the fear of poverty though.
Yeah, no. Not when you've got two kids who want everything in the world.
Yeah.
And I want to give them everything in the world, and not just money, obviously, me. So the other reason why I started the business was I wanted to be a mum again. So I'd never had the chance to take the kids to school, pick them up. And I always remember from childhood, I didn't have that either. And every so often, my dad would pick me up, and it was like the best part of the day. So, and the same for Sean. He set his own business up and works locally, so we have a lot more time at home.
Yeah.
And I know people talk about work-life balance and things like that, but it was about I wanted more choice, and I wanted it on my terms.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a tough 18 months, but I never stopped to think, God, look what you've built.
Yeah, no, you never do.
Never do, because it's always the next thing and the next thing. So yeah, it's been really hard, and I think now I own a business, now I have that responsibility, and it's all on me. Now I know why franchise owners used to say to me, Katie, you have no idea what it's like.
Yeah, you don't.
Because I was employed, whether I turned up to work or not, I was getting paid every month. Do you know what I mean? So that's probably the one thing that's really, really stuck in my head of going, now I know what they mean. Now I completely get what they mean, because they invested everything.
That mental change from being an employee to being self-employed or having your own business is a big one.
Massive. And because all of a sudden, I've been used to working with big teams. Yeah. Then it's just me, and it's like, I've got a question. Who am I meant to ask?
Yeah.
So then the whole journey of building out my network, but with people who have really supported me and who have been there to advise me, been there to wipe away the tears, been there when I've said, like, that's it, I can't do this anymore. It's an incredibly lonely place. That's also what I found. It's not easy at all. It's not easy. And I think from the outside, it can look great on LinkedIn and everybody's doing really well, but there's a lot of things that don't go really well. There's a lot of things I've had to learn a lot, also about myself. And, I thought, I'm really resilient. Well, that's been tested to the max this year, this last 18 months. But yeah, that mindset shift of being a director of a limited company, not an employee, and it's been crazy. It's been really crazy. And this time last year, it's like I've almost got sort of seasonality in moods. That's what I've noticed. So when things are going great, because especially with health and social care, because there's appropriate times when people really need that support and advice, and my business has followed that rhythm. But it's like I remember getting to the end of last year, and I was like, my inquiries had slowed down, and you don't take a step, because you're in it, you don't take that step back and think, but that's fine, but you've done really well, and that's fine for the next few months, and it's just in line with. But it wasn't that for me. It was like, no, that's not enough. That's not, what do I need to do? And then I find myself sort of spiral into, right, it's not working then. Yeah. Right, I need to look for something else. And Sean's he's like, he pushes me, but in the right way. Like, you've just got to sit tight. You don't want to be employed again. You want to work with people. Everything you want is within this sphere that you've created. You're just not patient enough, which I'm not. And I think he's probably kept me in it for this long. It's only 18 months, but it feels like a lifetime.
I think it's important that's an important factor. I mean, not everyone has the opportunity, but having the people around you is a big one.
Yeah. I don't know how, I couldn't have done this on my own. And I don't think anybody can do it on their own.
No.
Do you know what I mean? And also I've found and I've never done this before, but when things get tough, I've also gone into myself rather than reach out for help. Yeah. I've almost gone inward on myself and retracted away from people rather than actually, do you know what, I need help. And I should know this better than anyone, but talking, sharing the challenges, everybody has the same challenges. Yeah. Everybody. It doesn't matter how good, big, small a business is, we're all treading the same trail to some extent. Yeah. So yeah, it's been really interesting, and I think I've probably learnt more in this 18 months than I've learned in my whole career. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. It was just that was the question I was going to ask you. I had it on the tip of my tongue, but I just didn't know how to ask it. But yeah, because it's almost like a I fucking told you so question, isn't it? Do you get what I mean? Yeah. In a nice way. Yeah. In a nice way. I mean, I didn't tell you so, but I'm just saying to you, because I've been working I set up in, I think I was 20, I can't remember how it was, but it was 13 years ago I started set up myself, and that was the biggest learning curve. And I had my mum and dad.
Yeah.
I was lucky enough to have mum and dad, and they gave me some money. But even they cut that money off. It was £7,000. I mean, I think I borrowed a bit more in the end. But I quite remember like Dad saying, I cleared the bank account to pay the VAT bill. Like literally, I think I had like a penny in the business, a bank account, and I was like, I need some more money. I was like, well, that's your problem. And I remember being in tears on the stairs and my underpants covering shifts at the top of the stairs. And Charlene was like, "What are you going to do?" I was like, "I don't fucking know." And that was the first time I made an agreement with the VAT man to pay it back in bits, and paid a bit of a fine. It wasn't a lot of money, but at the time it felt like a colossal amount of money. And I think they're the lessons that you'll go through.
Yeah.
Have we paid our invoice now?
You have now, yeah.
They're the lessons, isn't it?
Yeah. I thought he's going to pay it before the podcast show.
Yeah, I didn't. I'm not in charge of it. But I've seen it come through. I thought, fucking hell, that needs paying. But like they're the lessons, aren't they, when you're counting on the money?
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. I mean, and that's it's like I'm not a big business. Do you know what I mean? So it's,
when people don't pay it on time, it's horrendous.
Yeah, and to be fair, it's a few days generally. Yeah. Like it's nothing crazy. But I think the other part is I've never considered myself as a risk taker.
Have you not?
No. I'm pretty.
Are you plan? Do you plan? Well, you strategy, aren't you? In ops, aren't
plan.
you? So, yeah.
I plan. It don't always work.
Yeah.
But never. They don't, do they? But I am a planner. I'm very structured. So to take this was the biggest risk. This is why so much was riding on it.
More than having kids.
Yeah.
Mad, isn't it, that? When you think about it logically like that.
Yeah.
When I always think, so you think having a business was a smaller risk than having a child?
1,000,000%.
Mad, that, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, think
of the stress you couldn't having kids.
Yeah, I know. Oh God, yeah. God, that's a whole other bloody podcast. But yeah, the level of risk. But then, and I think again through things that have happened in life, I have to remind myself a lot. And again, Sean reminds me is remember what you always say: life's too short.
Yeah, it is.
So if it goes wrong, what's the worst that could happen? Because I went through the whole, oh my God, if I put Katie Furey and I fail, everyone's going to know. It's like, so what?
Loads of people fail.
So what? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So, and I fail on a weekly basis, but I learn from it. So, do you know, that doesn't, but it's changed. Now I probably will take more risks, even though they'll be calculated to some degree. But yeah, biggest risk. As a family, Sean, just before me, 12 months, set up his own business. I thought, oh my God, we're having a midlife crisis.
Yeah.
He does landscaping.
How does it?
He loves it. He loves the freedom. But again, it's like in that job you're only living a few months ahead. Like I'm used to like holidays planned, this is what we spend, like that's all sort of gone out the window. So
when you have your own business, you're a millionaire one week and then you're skint the next.
Absolutely. And it's like, I can't deal with this, I need to plan. And it's like, he's like, just ride it out, just look, you know. And I think it's the biggest thing that, and I know we don't do it enough, is to just stop. And even though I think, God, yeah, I've built this X-figure business and in a period of time, I've done it.
Yeah.
I said to someone who's in franchising, actually, she was a franchisee, she's now a coach, and she asked me, what's enough?
Yeah.
And when I went, oh my God, that sounds really limiting, that question. And she went, that is such an interesting response. And I thought, what is enough though? Because all my career has been exhausting, right? But I've climbed the ladder. What's next? What's never sitting still, never. And I don't know what. I probably still don't really know of what was the driving force behind it. I think my dad was a massive influence on my life. He was the biggest cheerleader for me, and Sean is equally that. And I think as soon as I got to ops director level, I thought I've made it. So for whatever that, me quantifying success in terms of a title, whereas now it's just like it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. So yeah, I think as well I've learned. Well, I'm trying to learn what is enough.
I think so. Can I give you a response to that? I've got a couple of responses to that. I think when someone's crying a career, I think there's a moorishness for money, but there's also a moorishness for intellectual sort of capacity. I think when you climbing a career, if you're quite a switched on cookie and you can take on more responsibility, like, take it on.
Yeah.
I think if you're not going home and not mentally exhausted, but mentally you've used
Challenged.
then I think that you should be climbing that career. Me personally, my attitude towards life, if you can take on more, take it on.
Yeah.
Because why would you go home and not be like that?
Yeah.
Because then you'd be bored, wouldn't you?
I'd be bored, and you're right, because I remember I came home one day from work. It was when I lived at home with my mum and dad, and I said to my dad, I've had enough, it's too much. I said, I really, when I was younger, all I wanted to do was work on Tesco checkout. I loved the tills, that's what I wanted to do. And he was like, I just wish I wanted to work on Tesco checkout. He went, but you'd work on the checkout, and then you'd want to be the manager, and then you'd want to be the store manager, and then, Katie, this is just all part of your journey, that's it. And I thought, you're so right. And you're right, because people have described me in the past that you're like a sponge. It's like I need to learn, like, give me the detail, because I need to problem solve, figure it out, help in some way. And if that's not being, oh my God, I'd be bored out.
Exactly. So some people go to a job and their fulfillment is their next holiday, their next christening. And that's lovely. And look, I like it too. I'm not saying it's I'm not saying it as a negative. I'm just saying that some people focus on them things, where some people go to a job and it's like, well, I've done that bit. What else can I take on? And it's just that moorishness for more internally, so that they know they can be tested. I know a long lady just over there is a bit like that. And I'm the same. Yeah. I've gone the opposite way so much now that if I'm not taking risks, I'm really pissed off. Yeah. If there's something not going on, like, I can't do the little stuff anymore because it just makes me sad. Yeah, it makes me sad. And I would rather be teaching someone else that thing, because then I get more out of that than I do doing it. And I've been doing it recently because things are tight and I've been on the phones and stuff. But I'm sat there thinking, I would rather be teaching someone else to do this than myself. Yeah. But you know, you have to do it, don't you?
Yeah, of course you do. Of course you do. And I think for my whole career, that's basically got me to, this is why I've done this, because it's just been a massive learning journey. But now all of that learning has created a business and an opportunity for me to do what I want to do now. And you know, who knows what the future holds.
Yeah, I think you'd be fine. I think you'd be absolutely fine. You might create something a bit bigger, and you have a few people working for you.
Yep.
Are we allowed to talk a little bit about what was it that forced you to do that, or are we allowed to peel that back a bit or not?
Why I started?
Yeah. Because I've seen there's a career break, and I wanted to scratch around there a little bit.
Yeah. Exhaustion. Yeah, I mean, it's not. I've been very lucky. The businesses, three main businesses that I've worked for, from leaving college, and I've had amazing opportunities. I think. With when I decided to do this, it was I had been exposed to an environment I'd not seen before in terms of pace, in terms of vision and mission, in terms of being in a world of investor-backed businesses. It was a whole new world. So it wasn't that it was a bad thing, but the relentlessness and part of me because. You
were part of that.
I were part of it, right?
Yeah, you were like,
and I was like a dog with a bone.
You must have been a big central jigsaw piece.
Yeah, and I was like, basically the boundaries were removed. Yeah. So 16-hour day, long days. But part of like I'd not created the boundary, right? I'd sort of got sucked into this wonderful idea and wanted to give absolutely everything.
Yeah. It's hard, isn't it? Because you don't want it to be a negative. Because it wasn't a negative.
It's not,
but at the same time, there's a point where sometimes you don't want it like that anymore.
Yeah, and that was it.
Yeah, I think it's. I struggle with this, Katie. Right, I fucking really struggle with this. It's topic at the minute. is people's personal lives changed, and that changes their appetite for their career. And that I struggle with that because obviously I'm an employer, and I've got teams, and I'm like, you didn't fucking tell me your personal life was going to change.
Yeah, how dare you?
How dare you?
Yeah.
That's the bit I fucking struggle with, because I adapt my business around my personal life, so my business thrives, and I adapt around it.
But I think, and therein is the key, right? I wasn't walking away from that business or exiting that business being a multimillionaire, right? And that's an amazing opportunity if that's what happens.
Yeah.
So when you are that business owner, absolutely 1,000,000%, your skin's in the game.
Yeah.
But when you're not and you're an employee, I'd still run through walls. I'd still work till the nth hour. But for what?
Yeah.
For what end? Yeah. And I think that for me, it's, doing something at 9, 10 o'clock at night that could have absolutely been done at 9 or 10 in the morning. That meant that it just absolutely roller coaster. It was a roller coaster into my life, and I allowed that. I got sucked up on that track, and it, like I said, it wasn't till Sean said, "You're here, but you're not present." I thought, wow. Yeah. I was like, ouch, that really hurts. Yeah. I remember bathing one of the kids, Ava, my youngest, and my phone going, and I had to stop myself from answering it, and I thought, no. And it were those things, those key things, or if the kids said, Mum, get off your phone, or it was like, ugh, because it's wrong.
Can I play devil's advocate now?
Yeah.
Would you do it now?
Not with the kids, not as much. I'm more aware of it. I won't say I'd never do it, in all honesty.
Yeah.
But what I do is, if it never needs to be done now. That's what my idea. Yeah. If I reply to an email or reply to something from a client, I'm choosing to do that. But at the same time, you've got to realise, by that behaviour, you're saying to that client, it's okay to message me at this time at night, and you're going to get a response.
Yeah.
So I have to. The way I'll say. I'll reply to things that need, like, there's nothing that urgent unless
you prioritise it quickly, don't you?
Prioritise it in a different way, whereas before it would have been, couldn't put it down, couldn't put, what am I going to miss? But I also think that's to do with the culture that you build in your business, like that level of expert. So if I wasn't behaving like that, did I feel like I wasn't part of that culture? Probably, yeah, because we were all running at 100 mile an hour because we wanted to create this big vision. Yeah. That culture's an interesting subject.
Yeah, it is.
It can be great, but it can also be catastrophic in some ways.
It's nice that but isn't it nice though that you've done that? You've been part of something amazing. Yeah. You've learnt all them skills. You know what it is to put a full day's graft in now.
Oh God, yeah.
That ability to swap your test, sort your boundaries out, and just create something for yourself. Yeah.
In those 2 years, Ryan, I probably learned an incredible amount of value that helped me do what I'm doing now.
You've worked with some amazing people, haven't you?
Oh God,
Ruth Brown.
She's amazing.
Yeah, she's amazing.
And she's my best friend still.
Yeah, so. she's amazing.
We were like, we were with the A-team.
Yeah, she's like, so it's mad, isn't it? Like it's so nice to work with incredible people and go on them journeys. But I do get it, and it's
and obviously after, like, working with Ruth and working with Home Instead, which was the introduction to franchising for me, and the best introduction you could ever have to an amazing brand. And then obviously I moved to another company, which was more around technology and care. Yeah. And I learned an incredible amount from both of the journeys. In different senses, really. I got exposed to things in a tech business that I'd never got exposed to in a franchise business. So even just from a knowledge point of view, just like, wow, how the world ticks outside of certain things, it was so interesting. And working with incredible people in that business as well, who'd come from massive tech businesses where, to work with product and engineers and people like that, it was like, because from an operator point of view, like, you know what you want the system to look like. These guys could build it, right? That was a different world.
Amazing.
Different world. So yeah, that was really interesting. But yeah, there's no regrets in life.
Yeah.
I think everything that's been hard, I've learned from it. I've learned about the leader I would want to be.
Yeah.
From good and bad experiences.
Yeah. Deep one for you. What would the younger Katie Furey think about you now? The younger Katie, so if I was talking to 16-year-old Katie Furey, what would she have said you were been doing when you were this old?
Oh, God. That's an interesting question. What would she say I would have been doing?
Yeah.
Whatever it, I would imagine, not naming a role, it would be whatever it would be, she would be successful. That's
how you were, yeah. I love that. So nice to hear that.
I know, but it's a bit like, I'm not like, oh, I'm, you know.
No. It's an attitude, isn't it? It's not.
Yeah, it's not bravado or ego.
Yeah, no, it's an attitude. Yeah,
but it's like, I know.
You have to have a little bit of ego though to do that.
I think you do. Yeah, it's like people who say, you know, you don't have an ego, and I think I do, because I can stand on a stage and talk at conference.
Yeah, I've got an ego. I've got a bad and a good ego.
But yeah, I do, and I say that because I think it's just always been instilled in me.
It really?
Like I started working at 14. My dad.
Is it? Can we talk about your dad?
Yeah, of course you can. Yeah,
but
yeah, I think.
Where were you brought up? Your mum and dad?
So my mum and dad were from Salford.
Are they?
Yeah, Salfordians.
Were you born in Hope Hospital then?
I was born in Hope.
So was I.
Absolutely, born in Hope. And brought up in Astley. And my mum and dad, I suppose, never had it easy. I think what I definitely got from them was work ethic without them saying it.
Yeah.
Like my dad had 3 jobs at one time. They were working nights and shifts. So
what did you do?
So my dad, he had about 50,000 jobs, but his longest career was at the airport.
Was it?
But he was a joiner by trade, so when he finished at the airport, he went into joinery. But it was like there was always one of them at home always, but the one was always out working.
Is it a busy house? You got brothers and sisters?
No, I've got one brother. No, not really, really. But I think, she'll kill me for saying this one. Well, she won't, but because I remember reflecting on it after, like now while we're older. And I remember going to Manchester, right? And the big Father Christmas that's on the town hall?
Yeah.
They took us to see Father Christmas on the bus. And I only knew this years after, when you talk and reminisce with your mum and dad about stuff. And it was like, do you know how hard it was when you were younger? Because to us, we got everything. Yeah. We had everything, but we had a lot of love.
Yeah.
So yes, we got everything at Crit, but now I'm older. It's like it wasn't that. It was like we had a very happy life.
Yeah.
So my dad said to me, we had to walk the long way around, so we didn't walk past McDonald's because we didn't have enough money to get you. Man. And I was like, no, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
But I just thought, and why would I? I didn't know any different because everything else was there, and I thought.
But the love, though, to not put themselves through that.
Oh God, yeah. And it's like now, like you can't. The kids, we create, I suppose nowadays. It's like you don't wait for a bike for Christmas; they just get one.
Yeah.
So that was a big. Yeah, it was a big. I thought, God, but we were never affected by anything. It's like now I think about things with Ava and Holly and think. Because you're in the moment all the time, they're never going to remember. They're not going to remember what you bought them for Christmas, but they'll always remember how we made them feel.
Yeah,
1,000,000%. So
it's a big one, that, and it's a big learning curve, that, innit?
Yeah.
I'm going through that. I'm separated at the minute, and money's tight, and I've been in a position where I've never had to think about money. But I am doing a lot now, and there's multiple times. All the time, every single week, where I can't get the kids the things I wanted, and I can't do the things. But I always, I'm not gonna lie, I cry quite a bit, and I can't buy them or do the things they want to do like they wanted to. Well, I'm used to. Now it's like, but the same difference. After the conversation of, look, I can't get that right now. They're still just as happy.
Yeah, exactly.
They're just as happy as they were before I couldn't get it, because they have all the love in the world.
If you think now, I I can't remember the Christmases from being 1 to 15. I remember certain things or certain.
I just remember Christmas dinner.
Of course you do. Do you know what I mean? It's like you don't, and this is like we get so hung up on this as parents of what they want, what you should be giving your kid. And it's like, do you know what? What I give my kids now differently. Take them to school. Well, that's a bit. You know, Sean takes Holly. I take Ava. Yeah. They're the other bit, you know, but then that gets
ice cream after school.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, just
is
the
miles
little
more
things,
important than a go-kart at Christmas.
Absolutely. And I'll say to she accepts it at the minute. I don't know how long it'll last, but Ava's only 6, and I'll say, Mum's not got any pennies today, whether I have or not. And she just accepts it. I think, oh, that's nice. I wonder when this is going to change, because Holly's 14, but she's now got a part-time job. Same as me when I was 14. I was like, you need to get a job. And she was like, what do you mean? She went, well, I think I could work Saturdays, but I can't work Sundays. I said, why not? She went, well, I'm busy on Sundays. I said, you're 14, what are you busy doing? So, and now she started work. She's got this. I had a message from a boss the other day who was saying, she said, Holly is absolutely amazing. I wish we would have found her earlier. I thought, well, she's only 14. But she takes ownership of the shop and what's going on. They do pamper parties for little girls, and she's the first one there and she's the last one to leave. And you should be very proud of the girl you brought without getting brought up, without getting emotional. I think that's the unsaid things that me and Sean will just do. Because when she was, I went, that's me. That's me. Yeah. All them years ago. But we're not told her to be anything. It's just.
So that's where you need to make peace with it, and this is where I make peace. And me and Ruth talked about this. It's about being an inspiring parent.
Yeah.
Smashed it, haven't you?
I don't know.
Yeah.
But it was nice. Yeah, it was nice to receive that, because I thought there's no better message than to receive that from someone who doesn't know you or Holly that well,
and didn't need to send it.
And didn't need to say it, didn't need, and she put, she's secretly my favourite. And I read it to Holly when she got home, and I was like, I'm so proud of you. And she's like, oh, Mum.
And if you can teach your kids good work ethic, it doesn't matter what they do then, is it? As long as they thrive in what they love to.
Absolutely.
Then,
absolutely,
amazing,
yeah.
So there's something to learn in that, all that, Katie.
I know. It's like a counselling session, this.
But I see it in my little boys, some of the things that their characteristics are, and they're only 5 and 8, but I've taught them about, and they see me on the phone, and they see me talking about things. They sit around the dining table while we talk about business, because that's what you and your husband will talk about now.
Yeah.
And so, although maybe I'll go away quite a bit, I might not be physically hands-on, but they see me on FaceTime, they hear my conversations, and when they do get me, and it's even further apart now because I'm separated, but they get me, and they get that concentrated time, and I still answer the phone when I'm talking about work, but I don't answer when I'm cuddling or reading a book.
Yeah,
absolutely. I don't answer when I'm in a bath or a shower.
Absolutely, and I think that's because I do travel a lot with work. It's been hard. I've travelled a lot this year. Like, there's no clients in the north. Everyone's down south, but. Yet. When I speak to, if say Ava will say, "Are you staying away, Mummy?" and I'll say, "Yeah, because I need to save pennies to send to Father Christmas this year." Because that's her. She makes peace with that herself. Like, she'll go, "I really miss you," but she'll say to Sean, "Can I sleep in bed with you?" Because she's not allowed. She's not allowed in our bed. But when I'm away, he goes, "Yeah, of course you can." Only when Mum's away. So the good thing for Ava when Mum's away is she knows I'm doing it for a reason, but she gets to chill in bed with Dad. So and
but she'll still hear your conversations with Dad, and and you'll still be an inspiring mum.
Yeah.
And then when she comes old enough and she wants to do a job, she'll be like, "Well, Mum used to work away, so I can work away."
Yeah. If that's all I'd ever want the kids to say. Yeah. Like, who inspires you? Yeah, your mum and dad.
Yeah, Mum and Dad do. See, Mum and Dad have had their own businesses their whole life.
Yeah. So you've been around it.
Yeah. So like I've worked in every business of my mum and dad since I remember. So I remember being about 7 or 8 years old, and Mum had a big. It was a diet food. It was like Slim Fast.
Yeah.
and it was in Manchester. They had a big warehouse in Manchester, and you know the pallet trucks. I used to use them like, you know, go kart. You know, like you put your foot on them, don't you? You put the handle and put your leg in between the forks. And I remember flying around the warehouse at 6 years old and 7 years old, and that was my mum and dad's business. And then the business after that, I remember going. They had a multi-level marketing business, and it was perfumes and all sorts of stuff like that. And I remember being in the warehouse, stacking the warehouses, and I remember the garage being full of all the makeup and stuff, and going through it all and putting the aftershave on. The business after that, I remember being in the warehouse and stacking all the clothes. So did mum and dad work a lot? Did they work every hour that God sent? Yeah, but were they inspiring, and did they lead me to where I am right now? Yeah.
Yeah, million
So I think it's however you want to constructively beat yourself up or constructively look at yourself. It is difficult driving about though.
I think the
you'd soon quickly lose the happiness of opening a hotel room door and seeing an amazing hotel. You soon go, this is a sell.
Yeah, and I just want to be at home.
Yeah. But this swings and roundabouts.
Of course there is. It's just, and I think it's my choice now.
Yeah.
If you know that's my choice to do that, and I know I'm definitely at home a lot more than I was before, and I mean in body and mind.
One thing I'm at a different space, and something you need to think about when you don't forget small is beautiful sometimes, because now I'm in a space where it isn't my choice.
Yeah.
So people might say it's amazing running a business. I can go and have a massage tomorrow in the morning, but if Kay wanted a massage tomorrow, I'd let her go and have a massage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If the girls want to go and get their nails done, they go and get them done. I try and give as much flexibility within the business to do that. But I cannot not be like, if someone rings me, I have to answer my phone. If there's things that happen now in the business, I have to go. There's a thing coming up in November. I have to go, and I'm missing something, a massive event in my life because of it. No one knows.
Yeah.
I've not said anything to anyone. I'm not going to cry about it.
Sometimes you just got to suck it up.
Yeah, and I think that's also. But the problem is with an employee, I'd hear about that.
Yeah.
And they make me feel guilty about it. They fucking go on about it. On the day out, they wouldn't fully be there. I'm going to this thing. No one will fucking know that I'm missing it. I'm going to go and do it, and I'll just turn up and do it.
Yeah.
My brother's and my dad's anniversaries, I've fucking worked on them. My kids' birthdays, I've worked them.
Yeah.
And that's what it is. So it is nice the space you're in now, but be wary of the growth.
Yeah. I think the bit I'm missing, it from a business point of view, is a team.
Yeah. It'll come.
I'd love, and I've got the thoughts and stuff for next year, because I think, in terms of building a personal brand, it takes a lot to start to build that brand away from you, and bring other amazing people in. But
you have to let them have their own personal brands.
Yeah, and that's the bit. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think that's the bit that I'd love, like, of creating that environment of being. And I said to you before, I've learned about the leader I would want and absolutely not want to be. It's like I want to put that into practice, and I want to create that environment where...
That's a fucking learning curve in itself.
Yeah, absolutely.
You'll eat your head on that, Dave.
Yeah.
You sat on the toilet fucking having a wee, fucking crying. That's what leadership...
I cry all the time.
Leadership coaching is not about reading a book. It's about crying on the toilet. Or crying in the car. There's no fucking
Just
leader.
don't make everyone else cry. That's the key.
I swear to God, there isn't a fucking leader in this land, multi-million pound or not, who's not sat in the toilet and going, what the fuck have I just done? What the fuck?
I do that all the time. Yeah. And now. Yeah. And I'm on my own. Well, so to speak.
But yeah, so talk to me about... family life was amazing. You had a warm house. You enjoyed yourself. You didn't have loads, but you felt the love.
Yeah.
Talk to me about moving from school. Did you enjoy school? Were you academic, or were you just...
I had to work really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, not academic.
No.
Not academic at all. And
were you a popular girl?
I'd say I was,
Yeah.
I'd say I was...
one of the girls?
In the middle. In the girls, not the nasty girls.
Yeah.
I think
Kay was in the nasty girls.
That was...
I was the biggest geek.
You were horrible at school.
Actually, that with school, with learning, and this it's deep in it. With it was, I knew I had to work it. Basically, I didn't want to fail. I didn't want to fail. So I had to work really hard, which was really hard because I wasn't academic. But I think it's just what you're surrounded by in terms of love, encouragement. You can do whatever you want to. You can be whoever you want to be. That's all you can be whoever you want to be. And in some sense, now reflecting on that, and since lots of things have happened, I think, I wonder whether that was a bit of pressure in itself. It probably was, but the right.
Oh yeah,
you've
had the best love and encouragement ever from your mum and dad, haven't you?
Yeah, oh, 1,000,000%. Yeah.
You can just, it just
Yeah,
literally, it's pouring over the table to me.
Yeah, they were very, very, very loving mum and dad. Yeah, for sure.
Encouraged you and pushed you in a nice way.
Yeah, I'd tell them both something, and they'd go, we're not surprised. We knew that had happened.
I'd love to meet your mum and dad. Be sick. And your husband. We'll take him for a pint though.
Yeah, he needs one living with me.
I bet he does. So, did you go to uni or college or anything?
No. So this was the next point I wanted to make. I perceived success being that I needed to have a degree.
Did you?
Yeah. And I actually had an interview once, and one of the questions I got asked was, what do you have a degree in? And I'd gone from feeling this big, it was going really well, to like absolutely a pea on a drum. And I don't know what, I think at that point, because I thought, I do not want to work here. Yeah. I thought, I've got the confidence to say this. And I just said, do you know what? I've got the highest possible degree that's ever been awarded. And they were like, what? I was like, I wasn't like 20, I was older. And they was like, and I said life experience and work experience. Yeah. I said from what I've learned in the jobs I've done, no degree could give me that. Yeah. And it really, really peed me off, if I'm honest, because I thought, because of employers at times, that was their measure of success, that I was thinking, I'm not worthy, I'm not credible, experienced enough because I haven't got a degree on my CV. And it put a lot of pressure on me for some time. But the thing, I didn't want to go to uni. I finished college and all I wanted to do was earn money, because I'd earned money since I was 14. I wanted to be self-sufficient. That was the only drive. And I remember saying to my mum and dad, like, I don't know what I'm going to do now. And they're like, you'll find something. And I'm like, you'll find something? I'm like, no, I need it now. And I went to Kelly Services Agency, and I got an admin job with Royal Mail. And I started at Royal Mail, and within 3 weeks they took me off agency and gave me a permanent contract. Yeah. And they were like, you've got the shittest job, but your work ethic is... And I was like, it's not shit. Because I was like, I was 18. It was like, I had a proper job. I was going to Manchester on the train. And I had... I was looking... I felt all important. And I thought... And I think that's the biggest learn. Like, no matter what job I've ever done, at any level, I've just worked my socks off. And that... basically has just created the next step and the next step and the next step. Yes.
Work ethic, innit? Such a big skill, innit, that people don't realise sometimes.
Yeah.
So, this interview, you didn't get that job, or did you get the job?
They offered me the job, but I didn't want it. I felt like I'm going to work here.
So, where did you you went to Royal Mail?
So I went to Royal Mail, worked there for quite a few years, worked my way up to like a corporate team. Like it was in the corporate side of the business. Learned a lot, but also had some not great experiences there from people around. Just seeing things that not in a great light, what were going on, and things not being dealt with. And again, I think this is the thing of all these things of going like, I would never be like that. I don't want to be like that. And then I decided, I don't know why, in my wisdom, thought, I'm going to do accountancy. I hated maths, right? I don't know. I don't know if I was seeking to prove something to myself, get a qual. I don't know what it was. Something just hadn't been put to bed, I think, with the whole uni thing. So I went and did accountancy at night school. It absolutely killed me. Did it at foundation level. And at the time, my auntie worked at HSBC. And she was like, why don't you come and work at the bank? And I was like, oh, yeah, I definitely need accountancy for that. absolutely not. So I went and worked for HSBC for, I think it was probably about 8-9 years.
Wow.
I loved it.
Did you really?
Oh my God, the best times. For the people I work with.
What did you do? Bank? What did you do?
So I started off in customer services, then went again through did my mortgage advisory, did my finance exams. So still learning, but at my pace, there was no pressure. So yeah, mortgage advising, finance advisor, financial advising, and then moved into team leading. Looked after high net worth clients, which was very interesting. Just meeting some people, just meeting some incredible people along the way. That was a great experience. But it was like, when you think you'd love to go back to that time, but it could only be the same with the people that were around you. It was the best time. It was the best time. And then I got to the point, red tape coming in, you need to advise this way, you need to advise that. And I'm thinking, you're locking me in too much now. And people had left and moved on. It just changed. And I thought, I need something else. But I didn't realise at the time, but I was so institutionalised, because that's all I'd known really in a corporate world, apart from Royal Mail. I was like, I can't do anything. I have got no skills whatsoever. What? I didn't know how to start looking for a job. I didn't know anything, because I'd just done this for so long and worked my way up. And I was speaking to my dad, and he was like, right, let's write out everything that you've ever done. Like what? And he just basically said, transferable skills, Katie. And sometimes he used to surprise me, because my he was not a corporate guy or anything like that. He was just like, roll your sleeves up, get the job done. And I thought, transferable skills, right, okay. And I went for a job and got the job. Worked at Co-op on legal services for business development for 12 months, and then on project and change management, learned a shed load. Loved it, but it was only a 12-month. And just before I was leaving there, a recruitment company rang me up and said, who I knew, and said, there's this job. It's going to sound, don't say no straight away. I thought, There was like, it's in the care sector. And I said, care? I said, I've never done care. And I know everyone has the personal story, but also at the time, Gran was getting care. We had a horrendous experience with my Gran. And I thought, do you know what have I got to lose? And I went to home instead. And I remember walking in and meeting Wendy on reception, who still works there now, as the director of First Impressions, which I just thought, how cool is she? And she made me feel like I worked there already. She just made me feel so welcome. And I thought, wow. And I met Ruth and Trevor. And I remember coming out and I rang Sean and I went, I need that job. I need to work here. I said, it's like something else. You could feel, and this is what, it's, you feel it when you walk into a business, like how welcoming all the team are here with me. Like they've only met me a couple of times. You can't make that up. You can't make that up. So I don't think I've ever wanted a job as much as that. So and me, when I met Ruth, we were both getting married. So she was getting married, I think it's the April Ruth got married, and I got married in the June. So that we were talking about all of that, and it was just, I don't know, fate maybe, what was happening at home with Gran, that opportunity, not knowing what I wanted to do. So I went in as the business performance team, which is franchise consultants really. And I remember after about 4 weeks, I was like chomping it, like, right, I've learned as much as I can possibly learn. Because I remember Ruth said to me, she said, you ask so many questions. I said, I know, I want to learn. And she'll say that to this day. I always remember you just wanted to feed me. And I remember asking my boss at the time, say, right, I'm ready to go out. I want to go and support franchise owners. And they were like, just hang on. You know, you need to know your stuff. And I got it, because it was like, they don't just want to like let me loose. And anyway, I convinced them and said, I just need to go out week 6. And I rang my dad on the way, and I was like, I never swore at him. I was like, Dad, I'm really scared. And he was like, what are you scared of? And I was like, I don't know business. I've never run a business before. And he was like, Katie, he said, you'll meet them. He said, and the way you connect with people will get you through that meeting, whatever you know or don't know. Yeah. And he was so right. And I loved it. And it's like what I'm doing now, really. But I loved that connection with people. I loved problem solving, pushing them, challenging when you knew you could. And that's where I really started to learn, do you know what, I'm a real people person. And then worked my way up to ops director, working alongside Ruth, which was great. And we had a great team. It was great times. And I never thought I'd leave. I never, ever thought I'd leave. And then for a number of reasons, but one particular one that sits in, it was COVID. And it was such a hard time. And when I say that, I mean, it was hard for us, but the franchise network were faced with the worst pandemic ever in the sector that all their business, their livelihoods were in, and no one knew what to do. Being in ops, having 215 franchise owners at the time looking at you for the answer, I don't think I even realised how much pressure I was under. And people around me definitely didn't realise the pressure of that. I didn't have all the answers.
No.
And that was a shit place to be. So I think with COVID, along with some other bits and pieces, it was just time. And then out of the blue, I got approached by the other company who I ended up working for. And because it was technology, and it was the bit that was missing for me of how to bring preventative measures as well as obviously looking after people. But it sort of ticked that box, and I just thought, do you know what, it's time.
Yeah.
Hardest job I've ever left.
Yeah, but
ever. Yeah. And I work with them now, so they still hold a very close place in my heart. So, but yeah, it was tough times at the end. Yeah.
Talk about McGran.
McGran, Kath. Yeah, short, fiery, big busted lady. Not that I was looking at Kate to say that, but yeah, she was amazing. She was.
My favourite type of women.
I spent loads of time there. Again, someone probably very influential. She influenced our lives a lot. A lot of love. Sunday dinners. Sometimes I get certain smells. I smell and I think, oh my God, it reminds me of McGran's house. And then she fell at home, and she went into hospital. And to see someone deteriorate like that mentally more than anything was just horrendous. Yeah. So my mum fought to get her out, and a sister, the sister everybody supported her, looked after her at home, but it was just horrendous. It was, and it's not even. It's very easy to call local authority fund, because that's what we had. We couldn't afford private pay, and we didn't know about private pay, to be fair then. We can be very critical of local authority funded care, but you can only do with what you've got. And I think a lot of the time, the pressure that carers are under, they can only deliver what they can deliver, or they leave the sector because they care that much they can't deliver under those circumstances. Yeah. So I am not for 1 minute saying, it wasn't the best care, but it was what they could do, and we were lucky that my mum and the family were around her. So she passed away at home, which is where she wanted to stay, and I suppose that's the only positive of thinking, that's where she wanted to be. But the journey of that was just awful. Absolutely horrific.
It's amazing how when someone's elderly, how quickly they deteriorate in hospital.
I think there are statistics around this about every week in bed, but we've just had it with Sean's grandma, and because obviously I know a lot about the sector, I was like, there were some people in there who generally didn't care. Yeah. But I also think everybody's got a story. Like, they've all just been through COVID. They're all very, very burnt out. And there's some people who probably are in there who shouldn't be in there. Yeah. But little things that, like, she was eating a tea and they came over to give her an injection. I was like, do you need to do that now? No. Well, don't then. She's eating and she hasn't been eating. So just little things like it just frustrates. And then you think, what happens when you're not there? Yeah. So she was in there for 4 weeks. She didn't need to be. We were all ready for her to come home. Sean's brothers and sisters, they all made the house. She's moved downstairs. Sean's mum sleeps there every night now. but just because of process and crap communication, we couldn't get her out.
Yeah, but this is a massive topic, but that's why, people are going to fucking shoot me for this, but that's why the NHS needs privatising.
Well, I think something like that is going to happen. Or I think it will have to, just because of the way it's gone to some degree.
It just needs managing better.
Yeah, it's just a
lack of funding, lack of
ginormous infrastructure that doesn't. And when I worked at Serica, working with a lot of, on virtual wards and stuff like that, is you actually realise how siloed that organisation is in terms of just information.
Some amazing people working incredible
yeah.
people working in there, but just not supported well enough.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Then it makes it bad.
Absolutely.
I'd hate to work in it because of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then that's why, unfortunately, it needs privatising so that it can get funneled that way, and then it gets better.
Yeah.
And people will be scared of it who work there, but once they go through that barrier, it'll be amazing.
Something's got to change, hasn't it?
Yeah,
but yeah, so she was an amazing lady, yeah. And it was just mad. It was just the same similar timing as home instead. So yeah.
So I have to, there's something that I've been ticking in my head since you said it. Do you know the bad leadership you've seen?
Yeah.
Think about it for a second. Do you ever think that part of that bad leadership could have been someone's that person's growth? So this is a difficult, because I know I've done things incorrectly sometimes, and I've learnt my lessons through it. Do you think that those people need to be tarnished with that brush forever, or do you think that they might have grown and changed since?
I think absolutely some people, it's their growth journey, because I've done it.
Yeah.
I think some people still remain to be that person.
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's hard, isn't it? Because something happened to me this week, and it happened 2.5 years ago, and to the person that worked here, and someone basically attacked me verbally, and I thought to myself afterwards, has that person never thought that potentially that what we went through at that time was just both of our growth?
Yeah, it's a really very, very valid. It's a great question, because I think.
Does that not some sort of forgiveness sometimes go?
I do, yeah, and I think I have, and people have probably also forgiven me over the time. But I think it's the fewer, like many people I've worked with or worked for, absolutely, and they've grown through that just as I have, because we don't know everything. We're evolving all the time, and we get things wrong and we say things wrong. But to have a level of self-awareness is so important, and to really care about people. They're my two, like that. They're really important things for me. And I got so many things wrong, so many things wrong, but I wanted to learn from it. Yeah. And I wanted to be better.
Yeah,
that's the.
I always find that's the bit in it, and that's where the forgiveness comes in, and the back, and you look back and go, I forgive that person, because.
But also saying sorry, Ryan. Also going, I got that wrong.
Oh yeah, 100%
like
apologise.
That for me, being authentic like that for me.
Yeah. I apologise all the time. Like I'm constantly saying, I'm really sorry, like and trying to fix it, because I'm really aware, and I think that's the piece in it. And I find it hard having to go through life dealing with people who obviously never reflect.
Yeah. But I think sometimes, but maybe they don't know how. Some people probably just don't want to, and just not bothered. Yeah. But I got the opportunity to have exec coaching, and God, did that teach me a lot. It made me cry, which I do a lot anyway. But it really made me much more self-aware, and also helped me through times where, if there were individuals being difficult, it's rather than me just going, they're being difficult, understanding why. Yeah. So that you could work through that, or thinking, next time I'm going to approach it this way, not that way, because it'll land better. I got better at that. And also, someone said to me once, what if that person never changes? What if they don't? And it's almost that acceptance of going, they are who they are. You either live with it, or you make it, or you make the change.
Yeah.
And that was a big one for me. And I thought,
And not a lot of people win to do that.
no, I'm not here to change everybody. Do you know what I mean? But as part of the coaching, I always remember, she said to me, when I was first started managing a team, and obviously you think you're great, you know, you're a good person, so I'm a good manager. And she was like, let me tell you this. You're over here running into the sunset for the growth, the whatever, the reward, what you want to achieve, and everybody else is still stood over here because you're not taking them with you. And I thought, what? Shit, I am.
Yeah.
Like those, but when I'm told something like that, I have to do something with it. It's not about it being critical. It might make me cry, it might make me be upset, but it's going to make me better. That's all I want to do. It's going to make me better, and I can help people more. Win-win.
Yeah.
For me. So I did start doing a lot more work on team, emotional intelligence, understanding what made people tick, how to communicate to people. Like that was a big lift, but I wanted to do it. I wanted to almost have that superpower of, I know where we're going with this, and this is how I'm going to handle it, rather than thinking I'm the boss.
Yeah.
And not that I would do as I say, but almost still that hierarchy. Do you know what I mean?
One thing I love that about you, by the way. That's amazing. That's how I think. But one thing I've struggled with recently is when you grow a team or you get new team members. So there's like core team members that know that I'm like that, and then you get new team members, and you have to almost go back. Because they don't treat you with the same level of respect as the rest of the team do. Yeah. So you have a new team member come on board, and you're like, you cheeky fucker. Like, you're like, do you not understand?
You're both trying to figure each other out.
And like, fucking hell, you winding me up? Like, are you fucking for real? Like, do you not know I can do all this and what I've done and what I've accomplished? And you're like, wow. Yeah. But then I'm like, wait a minute.
Take a step back.
They know nothing about me. I've got to go back through this whole process again and teach them my respect level and what I've gone through and what I'm going to teach you and how I'm going to coach you. And I need to figure out that because it's not about them, it's about me. Yeah. And this is the reason why it's not communicating.
I also think it's, to be a great leader, you have to, apart from, you want to be successful, but I think that you have to want more for others than you do for yourself 100%. To a certain degree. So, and what I mean by that is how much do you love seeing someone else grow or seeing someone else achieve something that you might have just given them a bit of structure, or you might have just given them a bit of advice.
It gives you loads of validation.
Priceless.
At the same time,
priceless.
I love that. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, that makes me a good person, and I love feeding that as well.
But I think that's the problem sometimes when especially like we've talked about egos, but I think when you lack self-awareness and have a big ego, and it's all about it's like when I hear people talk, and it's like me. I'm like, can't hear it. Yeah. Like, no, there's a team around you who enable that to happen. For me, I hate that. Yeah. I hate that. And I hate it. And I also, it draws me in of people that I'll coach of thinking, I want to make, you're so amazing, but you really lack these things. And those things are critical to be the best person, to be the best that you want to be.
Yeah.
Some people, I think, you can really coach through that. And others, I just think, no.
Yeah, so true.
Wasted breath.
Teaching someone, do you think you can teach someone emotional intelligence?
No, I think you can make people aware of it and what it means. No, because I think you can't teach someone to be empathetic.
No.
I learned this a little bit of when I lost my dad.
How did your dad die?
In an accident.
Oh, you're joking?
No.
Fuck off. What happened?
So, dig deep. So I got married in 2014 in the June. He was 65 in the September, ready for retirement. He wasn't retired anyway. And in the March, he went to work, went up a ladder and fell off and died within 24 hours.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Yeah. And I worked at home instead at the time. And I always remember I was at Carol Lovett's office in Leek, and I left there and I was going to Bromley to see Karina Brown, and I always used to ring my dad. So every time I was in the car travelling, so I used to speak to him probably, and my mum. Yeah. I'd speak to him every day, but my dad, I always used to ring when I was travelling for advice. This has happened. I'm really annoyed about this, just so he could bring me down off the ceiling. And I rang him when I left Leek, and obviously he'd not answered, which was when that accident was happening. And I got to the Piccadilly station, and my brother rang me, and he was like, Dad's had an accident, you need to get to the hospital now. And I was like, my dad could have cut his finger and I probably would have cried, do you know what I mean? I was like, but I knew something inside me was just, I was screaming in the car. And I rang Wendy at home and said, I was like, I can't go to one of this. And they was like, just go. Absolutely. And I got to the hospital and it was horrendous. And he was all, tubed up and stuff. And I just kept telling myself, you see this on programs all the time, and in my head planning, I'm like, I'm going to be here for a few months, so I'll speak to the team, tell I'll be doing a bit of work, but it'll probably be about 3 months because you see this all the time. And I think the catastrophe of it, how catastrophic it was, had a massive impact on us as a family, all of us. And definitely Sean as well, massive, because he was like a dad. Me and Sean have been together 22 years. Yeah. So, so we were processing it, and the surgeons were, I mean, it takes something incredibly special, and it'll sound really weird this, but they were so matter of fact, but they have to be. Yeah. And I think, like, if I couldn't do that job, I'd be
a mess.
A mess. And yeah, they basically took him down to surgery. We walked down with him, and then that was it. And they couldn't keep the swelling under control, and he just had a massive heart attack. And yeah, but yeah,
fuck it.
For years, yeah, like
so shit. That is just so shit. That.
I'll have to have a minute. Sorry. So very, very hard, and I think out of such a horrendous situation, there's a lot that's come from it now. But I think I always say 3 to 5 years, I lost myself. Like, I don't even remember it. Yeah. Holly was 4. Telling her was like, oh my God, like the worst, because she was me with him. Sean, how that guy has got through what he's got through with me, and been there in terms of, I think it's only been when I've processed it a lot more of remembering how I was constantly crying all the time at home, shutting myself away, all of that. I mean, who can watch that happen and be the biggest rock in the world, not just for me but for my mum? Sean's like got us to, and he was grieving as well. Yeah. So, and I think for me it was like I'd lost everything, but I still had everything. So saying to Sean, like, I want to get in the car and drive and keep going, must have absolutely broke his heart. Yeah. But I threw myself into work. And the first office I went to, who I seen the other week, Milton Keynes at home instead, they were the first office, and I just literally fell apart. Yeah. And I thought, and that was how I could be in home. It's not about, it was like we were all one big family. Yeah. So it was like take the professional hat off, like I just had to be. But I threw myself into work because at home everything was sad. Yeah. Everything was sad. At work it was an escape. But it was horrendous. And that's why we've got such a big age gap between the kids, because for a long time I just wasn't me at all. And then I met my guardian angel.
Who's that?
and she was a counsellor who my family found, and they was like, dragged me kicking and screaming. I was like, I walked in, I was a bitch to her, and I said, can you bring my dad back? And she went, no. I went, well, you can't help me then. But she saved me massively, and I'm like, you need to speak to Tracy. She's and again, I think it's this helping people. It's like I couldn't do that job because I'd be crying all the time, wouldn't I? I'd be a really shit counsellor. So but she was everything I needed. She got me through, as well as obviously Sean and my mum. Like, they were my, everything around me, and my friends.
But getting a counsellor, he can help unwrap it all.
I can't. Sometimes I'd just sit and I'd just cry.
Yeah.
And that's all I needed to do. But I needed to do it in a space away from everybody else. So.
But there's blame and shame and all sorts of shit that goes on. Yeah, and
oh God, you dig right into your childhood and stuff comes out and you think, that's why why I react like this. So lots of things came out of it. But the hardest thing was I felt like I couldn't be happy again.
Yeah.
But felt so bad for it because I had a little 4-year-old and a wonderful husband and a mum and a loving family and the future. But without my dad, that was nothing. So, and he was, and it's almost like Sean's always been supportive, but he's as equal as my dad. So, the cheerleader, if I need to ring and lose my shit or whatever, it's like, it's changed our family massively. But I think what I do a lot, which is hard, and I didn't know I did it, but I catastrophize a lot of things, but it's because of the event that happened. It wasn't just losing your dad, it was so traumatic. And the whole experience of little things like hearing a switch flick, it was turning the machine off. It haunted me for months, years on end, and that's the stuff that you never tell anyone about. So you're still showing up to work, and it's Katie, and but we've all got stuff that's happened, and I think that for me, being the empathy thing where we started with this question is, my friend had lost her mum. And we used to all go out together, and she would always be really emotional on nights out because she was grieving massively. And when my dad died, she was one of the first people I rang, and I said, I am so sorry. And she said, what for? I said, I never understood. I never, ever got it. And I think to empathise, you've got to have felt it, been through it, to really show a level of empathy. Yeah. So emotional intelligence, can you teach it? I think there's traits that are within somebody.
But I think they have to go through some sort.
I think it's the way you can't just like be, oh yeah, I'm emotionally intelligent. All right. When I did my emotional intelligence, like there was so much I was like, oh my God, that is absolutely me. Gave me a better understanding of me, but also an awareness. But caring for people and supporting people through, whether it's in business, whether it's through counselling, that helping people is like, that for me is what I love.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like, that's how I've been brought up in that way. But yeah, it was the worst time of my life. And it's took me a long time. It's 10 years in March, which I already know is going to be horrendous because I'm like, that's too long.
Yeah, no. That's
too long that I've not seen him or heard him. I've only got my wedding video. Thank God we videoed it. But to say, do you know what, I am happy? Because people go, your dad wouldn't want you to say that. I think, don't tell me what he'd want or what he wouldn't want. Like, I've just got to be like this. I've just got to be like this. So yeah, to be where we are now, and people will always say to me, your dad would be so proud of you. I'm like, don't.
Yeah.
But I know he would.
Yeah, of course he would.
And Sean said this to me, because when I'm struggling with stuff, I'll go and speak to him. And I struggle a long time about going to the grave as well. But Sean, I'll say, I need my dad to say, I need to hear what my dad say. And he said to me one day, you know what he'd say. And he's like, just these little things he comes out with.
Yeah, you need them, don't you?
I need it, and I think, yeah, I do. Yeah, of course I know.
Yeah.
It's just you're craving for them. But he was a huge part of our lives, and you know, and now like it's me, Sean, the kids, and my mum, and you know, we're a unit, absolute unit. And my mum is just an angel. Like she's just there. She's like another mum to the kids. Like we couldn't do what we've done without her. So yeah, it's been a really tough journey. Yeah. But there's been lots of things that have come out of it in terms of the positive. But yeah, I'd have him back in the blink of an eye.
You would.
Thanks
there you go. I knew it would come out eventually.
And I don't care. I will cry. I do not care because this is who I am.
Yeah.
And I think that is why I feel I can connect well with people, because outside of business is real life.
Yeah.
And we all live it, go through it.
I think I'm the same. I think it's that ability to see a franchisee or someone in business and look at them in the eye and they tell something to you and you go, do we need to shut the door?
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
Do we need to shut the door?
It's the same thing as you don't know what it's like here to be owning your own business.
Yeah, well then,
I think, by God, I just, that rings in my ears of like the things that used to get said. And even in, you know, I think that's why franchising is amazing, because especially for someone like me, even though I've done it on my own, but like that safety net around you, but still having your own business. What a model.
Yeah, no, it's nice.
What a model.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah, 1,000,000%.
Where'd I go with this podcast now? Fucking hell.
We need a beer.
I miss my dad so fucking much. So nice to hear you talk about your dad like that. What's your next plan? What's your next move? Are you just going to grow the team and then you've got some new clients coming on?
I think in terms of Katie Furey Consulting, I thought it'd be a business that I'd grow with loads of team and go in that direction, but I think it's serving a purpose for me for my next step, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
So there's some opportunities coming up next year which I'm considering at the minute, because I think to build what I want to build and the team I want, it's something bigger than this.
Yeah.
But I love what I do, and even if I do, I will still always be. You can ring Katie Furey and get help any day of the week.
Yeah, I feel like that anyway. I feel like I did that with you anyway. That's how you helped me.
Yeah. So onwards and upwards.
Yeah. I feel like I've got everything out of this podcast. I wanted to talk to you about the leadership part and the empathy part, because I struggle with that with some of my team, and I'm like, you just fucking haven't got it. You just haven't got it. And there's nothing I can do. I can push the buttons. I can have massive, hour-long conversation with them. I can give them examples, and I just sit there now and go, I can't have this conversation anymore.
I think it's a bit like culture. It's like if you've created such a unique culture because of the person you are, there'll only be certain people who fit in that culture, and if they don't fit, they'll stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
And not everyone's going to work out, and that's fine.
Yeah, and they don't. And I think also understanding that people are on a journey and you're part of that journey.
Yeah.
You're not the journey.
Yeah.
That's fucking hard, that though.
Yeah.
It fucking
kills me. It is, yeah.
It fucking killed. Like, I would want to punch you if I was Ruth when you left home instead. Like, I would want to fucking deck you.
She probably did, too.
Yeah, I bet she did. I fucking find out. Alaska. But you're like, it's hard. That is the hardest bit, when you've got something, you've got amazing people, but then you realise you're just part of the journey. It fucking kills me. It kills me. But
also, I think there's probably always ways and means that you can keep people on that journey.
Yeah. There's always that. It's beautiful that you're working back in Homestead. That's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, it's like going home.
Yeah.
Literally, that's what I say to franchise owners. It's lovely. And I also work with loads of great brands.
Yeah.
brands with purpose, and
You can go around dusting your magic on lots of brands in franchising.
that's
and
amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Like, you're an intrinsic part of the UK franchise industry. You don't even know it yet. But
No.
you are, aren't you?
I don't think of it like that.
Yeah, but you are.
I just think one client at a time.
Yeah. Okay, it's done.
Good.
Thank you so much for joining me.
I've loved it.
Yeah.
I've loved it. I feel like I don't need any further counselling sessions after this.
There you do.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Done.